are on the top of the Foscarino. Then, where you have the castle, you have Monte Rocchetta. And Monte Rocchetta is another crew. For example, there is La Rocca of Piero Pan. Then you have the Monte Tenda, which is just after, and Monte Tenda is where you have the Monte Tondo winery, where you will have the tasting. There is a Zoppega just in front of us, is the last little hill you see. That is the Zoppega. For example, Nardello makes the Zoppega, is another hill. So more or less, every hill is a crew, but it's not like this because some hills are divided in one place and the other, and this can be on the same hill more crew. On, for example, the La Frosca of Gini is just, you see all the hill with all that little trees, that just the last one. Just before, in that kind of little valley, there is La Frosca. And that's on our left is the Monte Grande. So for example, Pra has the vineyards on the Monte Grande. And then we don't see, but just going left here on the road, you will arrive first to Pressoni, which for example Cantina di Castelli has Pressoni. So Pressoni is the pure east of the Foscarino, and it's still Foscarino Hill. And then you end in the Carbonare. Carbonare is where they used to make the coat. No, come si chiama carbone? The coat, so vegetal carbon, so they used to burn the oak under the trees. And you see there is a very nice forest, and the Carbonare goes from the end of the Foscarino to the beginning of Fitta Hill. So you have like slopes which are east, northeast, east, northeast, and that kind of slopes area which is we have 3 hills, and all that place is called Carbonare, is a unique microclimate, and you have different wines.
Dove c'è Soave?
Dove c'è Soave makes Carbonare. Yeah. For example, talking about soil and exposition, east facing is giving, of course, wines with a little bit more citrus, a little bit more vertical, with a lot of freshness. If you go on the southwest, you can have maybe a little bit more round wines. Depends on the vintage, of course, because if the vintage is cooler, everything is fresher. If the vintage is warmer, everything is a bit rounder. Tovo is the soil you saw, the type of lava we saw is Tovo is a very kind of rock which is very scrambly. It becomes a bit sandy, and here, for example, we have grapes with a lot of structure in the skin. On the Foscarino, because of the wind, it's quite windy, and of this type of lava, we have skins. You will taste the grapes later with more like structure. You will feel some phenolics in the skin. The more, for example, you move east on the Foscarino, you have more clay. So it's less like rocky, this rock that becomes kind of sandy rock, and it becomes more volcanic clay. And when you have more volcanic clay, you have like vineyards that, of course, with this global warming, are more reactive and are giving, I think, a bit finer aromatics, a bit more saltiness, because the clay is allowing more minerals and more water to stay in the ground, and I think the plant is absorbing a little bit more minerality. When you go on pure rocks, maybe you have even more thicker skin. If you plant a tomato here, it's not nice to eat. It's thick skin, like my grapes. I mean, the tomato is adapting to the terroir. It's incredible because it's really rocky, and so the plants makes thicker skin, and the wind makes also thicker skin in every fruit because they want to be more resistant to the dehydration, and they make more phenolics. So it's really interesting to see how, moving on different slopes, you can have different skins and different wines.
Why do you harvest that late after this hot summer?
The summer was very hot until mid-August. Then the temperature went around 30-32. We went into a September when it was cold. We went to minimum 8 degrees, and the maximum was 25. So actually, when the grapes how do you say, when the Verizon, the temperature was there 10 days again 40 degrees and then went down to 30 and to 25. So for the final, for the end of the maturation, which is what really matters, honestly, it wasn't a hot vintage. It was really hot in July, and we had the burnt grape. Like this area has been really heavy, kicked from the sun and the wind, and we have less leaves, and more like grapes were outside the leaves, so you had some sunburn. So the grapes under the leaves were perfect. The grapes which were getting the sun direct were really smashed, really banged from the sun. The more you moved to the southeast, northeast, the more everything was protected from the light of the afternoon. So where we go now, that we are making the top selection, you will see there is a little bit less leaf because of the dryness and the drought of the season, but most of the grapes are perfect. And this is one of the challenges, is really to keep the leaves in the plants.
Like a shallow.
To protect, to shadow. And after, on the back, you have that kind of really hill with the top of a forest. That's called the Castellaro cru. One of the most important cru of Soave is also Castellaro, so you can see the cru Castellaro in front. Ciao ragazzi. Okay. So this is the best way to pick. You pick, you put in the crates. This is our Punjabi team. We work with Punjabi people and with Italian people. It's a mix. We have almost all pergola. You are here in the crate. You are hanging a bit of maceration. Because the soil is giving you this structure in the skin, so it is good to extract and make a very round, rich mineral wine.
So for 22.